show the stuff. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Good evening to you all. My name is Hassan Razagi. I am the head of Training and Continuous Education Department. I'm also assistant professor in the College of Computer Studies. So I'll be chairing this session. First of all, on behalf of Dr. Najma Taqi, President of AOU Bahrain branch, I would like to thank Mr. Tim Mori for accepting our invitation to deliver a workshop titled COO Words of Wisdom. And also I would like to thank Alba team, chief executives, directors, senior managers, and managers for their continued support to Arab Open University Bahrain branch, and also for allocating their time and schedule to attend this event. Also a special thanks to all our guests for being with us today. In addition, from my bottom of my heart to all those involved in organizing this event, thank you very much. I would like to bring to your attention before we start, before we leave the session to Mr. Tim, I would like to bring to your attention that in case of any emergency or you hear fire alarm, we have two emergency exits in this hall. One is on the left side and one is the right side. This as a precaution, and these two exit emergency will take you directly to a safe area. You don't have to worry. Before introducing Mr. Tim to the stage, allow me to talk a little bit about the benefit of training or having workshop. Now we all know that training has an impact on organization productivity as well as on the performance. Training usually gives employees a better understanding of the responsibilities and the knowledge and the skill they gain, so that they need this knowledge and skills to perform tasks. Likewise, students can benefit from attending training sessions. Now, there's a question here. What's the difference between learning and training? Now, can learning be a training? Now, the question is yes, can be. But learning is that you cannot start a training without having knowledge and the skill. So the beginning of training, there is knowledge and a skill you have to gain, then you go to training. So learning itself is considered as a training, but you need to add a practice and then to apply the practice on achieving the task. So this is one. Now student can benefit from also the training is that the student, they can develop and gain soft skills needed for market needs. This is one. Number two, a student will be going to have better opportunities or job opportunities for the future, what you call it, a job replacement. Dear all, our guest speaker, Mr. Tim Mori. Now, Mr. Tim is the CEO of Cardinal Virtues Consultancy. Tim has over 20 years experience in leadership, executive leadership, also a wide array of financial experience. Now, if you have read the book, the first chapter says, if you come here for financial means, don't come. If you read the first chapter of the book, let me just read it because this one will give us impression about the Tim's speech. What it says here in the first chapter is that don't come here if you want to be financial guy. This is in the first chapter of the book, and I hope you read the book because Tim gonna talk about his experience, which he expressed in the book. Tim is also author of CEO Word of Wisdom, which we're gonna experience today. Tim has published the Managing Blackout at Alba, a case study, the study in Harvard. Talk about the crisis situation. Tim is a guest, so let me just go to this one. So Tim is a guest lecturer at Harvard, where the case is taught as part of the top-ranked MBA program. Mr. Tim holds an MBA from Vanderbilt University, as well as a degree in accounting from I cannot pronounce it this one, so excuse me. Susquehanna University. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Tim has attended executive management program at Wharton and Chicago Business School. He is also a CPA and speaks basic Arabic. Salam alaikum, Mr. Tim. So he knows Arabic very well. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. Tim is currently board director of Alba, Bahrain Aluminum, and he was formerly the CEO of Alba and also held the roles of Chief Financial Officer. This is one. Also, under Tim leadership, Alba successfully completed the Line 6 mega project, which was worth, it was a 3 billion expansion project implementation over 4 years. Mr. Tim also introduced the Six Sigma Project Titan program, which improved Alba's bottom line performance by over 300 millions. Tim is an expert on safety management and was awarded the CEO Who Gets It award from the U.S. National Safety Council for his contribution to worker safety. Period to joining Alba, Mr. Tim spent 10 years with ARC Automotive, where in his last role he was Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. He played a key role in building a green field manufacturing facilities in both Mexico and China. Mr. Tim served 9 years on European Advisory Board of FM Global Insurance. Tim also served as a chairman of St. Christopher's School Bahrain, which is considered one of the top international schools in the MENA region. Mr. Tim is an avid reader and passionate about coaching and mentoring. And last but not least, Mr. Tim is an adjunct professor at the Susquehanna University, teaching classes on impact of COO leadership. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed guest, Mr. Tim Murray, to the stage to share his insights and wisdom with us.
Well, first, thank you to Dr. Hassan. That might have been the best introduction I've ever had. Bu Yusuf, would you agree? That was very good, Dr. Hassan. And you almost got Susquehanna. So that's it. That's the only feedback. We work on that one. So Susquehanna, and it's actually, Susquehanna is a river in Pennsylvania. It's a giant river close to where the school I went to. So, but it's my pleasure to be here. So I would like to thank Dr. Najma for inviting me. Dr. Hassan for all the arrangements. We had lots of emails back and forth communicating, so it's excellent to be here. I will be sharing my words of wisdom, so we will have some stories from the book, okay, and afterwards we can hand out some books. We have some extra ones here. We will also be using these bookmarks. Hopefully everybody got one of these as they walked in, so these will be part of the speech. If you didn't, again, we have some up here, so. But before I start, just a comment. I liked your discussion on learning and training, because there is a difference, but they are also linked. And so universities are meant to train people and develop people. But to do that, you also need to have real world experience and in terms of learning. The best way to learn is to fail and make mistakes. And today, and I think in our society, we're afraid to do that sometimes. So in terms of learning, training, developing, how you explained it was very good. I might put that in my future presentations. I might steal that. So again, today we will be using this book and the WOWs card. So this will kind of be the basis of the presentation. I would like for it to be interactive. We will have Q&A at the end. I will actually probably move out of this podium pretty soon. I don't like standing at podium, so I'll be coming down and more talking to you. So, but again, it'll be basically lessons I've learned as being a leader, being a CEO, being a father. So I kind of weave them all together. So hopefully today when you walk out of here, you'll at least like some of the stories and take it home and say, you know what, that was a pretty good point. The WOWs are nice. It's a nice little bookmark. You get to keep it. They're very high quality cards. We've had how many generations, Abdullah Sayadi? This may be 8, 9, 10. So these have been perfected, okay? And we use them a lot in Alba. So, and some people have collected them. I think some people even have all of them, I've heard. So they keep it as a collection. So, but again, it's really for you to take away some lessons about what I've learned. Okay, I'm going to talk a lot about being a leader or manager. I also have a lot of students. I teach students, so I'm a professor, so I understand how to teach and deal with students. So I will tailor it to both of the audiences. So, but again, I want to make it very interactive. So with that, I will come down now, because I'm too tall to stand on the podium, so I don't need to overwhelm you as it is. Okay, so in the WOWs, on the card, if you have the card, this is the very first WOW, so you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So you've heard this saying. This is not my saying. This is a famous saying. But it's a very important one. All right, for all my students out there, all right, all those ones are about to graduate. So when you go look for a job and how you dress and how you look, does anybody here have LinkedIn? Is anybody on LinkedIn? Yes, all right, so this is probably the best forum for you to try and find a job. So your LinkedIn profile better be really good. We don't want any of those silly pictures or you at a party or a selfie, or okay, make it professional. This is the first thing your future employers are going to look at, and they're going to look at your profile. So keep your LinkedIn really clean, really fresh. Very important. All right, so today, am I dressed nicely? Do I have my buttons here? Do I have a double Windsor knot? Are the Alba people dressed similar? Does this make an impression on you? Yes. Okay, alignment. So how you look, how you dress, very important. And it's very hard to change a first impression. Once you make that first impression, very hard to change it. So remember the importance of it, because you're all entering the real world. You want to get a job. Same with all my managers here, your faculty. When you meet people, you meet outsiders, you meet students. You're trying to sell the school, right? So how you look, how you dress, how you talk is very, very, very important. So this is very, very important for my students. Okay, perception is reality. This is WOW number 2. And it goes with the number 1, okay? And most people say, I don't like this WOW. This isn't fair. You shouldn't just make a perception of me. Well, I have a message for you. Life is not fair. So get used to it. And this impression, the first impression, the perception, okay, I'm an accounting major. So when you hear accounting major, what do you think? Money, bean counter, a numbers guy. Okay, in my book, Dr. Hassan referenced it. So in the first chapter, when I was getting hired for a position, the position was director of finance. So my former boss, my mentor, a gentleman named John Scaladin, at the end of the interview, he said, don't come here if you want to be the finance guy. And I'm like, the position is director of finance, so I'm a little bit confused, so. But his message was he wants business guys. He wants you to think like a business guy. So, but these perception is reality. And again, I know most people don't like it, but this is life. And so life is not fair. You're going to have lots of bumps and bruises as you go through life. So I'm just telling you, get ready for this. When we enter into the real world and you get your job evaluations, or maybe you didn't get the promotion, or maybe you got terminated, you're going to say it's not fair and this is da-da-da. So this is when you're going to have to learn. I hope you don't have to learn it the real hard way, but I'm sure that you're going to learn it as you go through life. Okay, the best communication is direct communication. So today I'm speaking to you directly, okay? We're also, I think, streaming this on the web services, which I think is great. But the more that you can speak directly to people as a leader, as a manager, is the better. Because when it goes through somebody else, it gets filtered, it gets altered. Okay, in Alba, we did a lot of town halls, we do a lot of safety campaigns, a lot of activities. We go talk to people, we interact, we bring people. But having direct communication, it just cuts through all the layers. It's very, very, very important. So as a leader, as a manager, this is one of the most important things you can do. And today, how do we normally communicate? And how do we do that? Texting. Yes, we all have these magical devices called iPhones. Yes. Abdullah Saeed, he's got one here. He's recording this. He's going to probably post it on Twitter later, or WhatsApp, Instagram. Our instinct is to go right to the phone and text. Okay, I have a 24-year-old and a 21-year-old. And this is how they like to communicate. And I've tried to teach them that, particularly for tough issues, or if you're dealing with your boss, okay, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your whatever, when you put it in text, one, it's forever, or email. It's there. And so even if you did something and you said you're sorry about it, that email's there forever. So be very careful. We're very quick to use the phone. And I get it, social media, the phones, they're here to stay. We can't change that. But really think about, the form of communication when you have an issue you're dealing with. Because a lot of times for tougher stuff, it's better to do it whether it's on the phone or in person. Because once you send that text, and you can be real quick to write it real fast, and you're aggressive, and you're mad, and you're angry, and then it's there forever. Okay, so very, very, very important. Be careful with the phones. All right, here's what I call the communication pyramid. So this is a structure of Alba, but similar for most companies. So when I give a message, okay, so me as CEO, so if I just send the message through my team, all right, I have a CXO, a VP, that's number 2. Then I have a director, GM, number 3. I have a manager, superintendent, supervisor, operator. So 7 levels. So will that message be the same through the levels? Why not? You're shaking your head. They don't like me? You don't want to deliver the message? You don't understand my English? It'll be altered, yes. Even if they want to do it perfectly, even if they love me, like Wally Tamimi, I know he loves me, right? You would do it perfectly. You'd say, just like I did. It's going to get twisted. It's going to get turned. Okay, and then in a lot of cases, people don't like. Maybe Hamad Al-Shaiba doesn't like me. This is just an example, okay? I'm not saying he does. He'll twist it, or maybe he won't even deliver it, and then it stops. Yeah, and then it doesn't even go through the chain. What's that? It'll be different. So, yeah, maybe they twist it, they turn it, or worse, they don't even deliver it. So then it stops. So we got to level 2, we didn't get to level 7. In Alba, we did a lot of campaigns on safety. And originally I thought if we sent out emails and flyers and all that stuff, it would get to people. In Alba, we have roughly 3,500 people. Only 1,000 have email. So the other 2,500 aren't getting the message. And those are the ones actually working in the plant. But we learned everybody has WhatsApp. Everybody has Instagram. Everybody uses social media. And everybody's afraid of social media. And I was afraid of social media. But social media is a powerful tool, good or bad. It can be used for good. Our fear is, we're going to get attacked, we're going to get made fun of. But it is a powerful tool. And it gets the message out. So for safety, we used it all the time. And originally, I was a little afraid of it because, you get attacked and people can do stuff. But for safety, safety is too important, so we used it. But remember that social media, it can be used as a force for good. It can be bad as well, but it's a powerful tool. It's here. It's not going away. So in terms of having it, it's not like you can say, we're not going to use social media anymore. That's not going to work. So my suggestion here is just use it. But be careful, particularly my students, back to your profiles, your job. The first thing your employers are going to do, future employers, they're going to do a social media screen on you. And you'll be shocked. Just go Google yourself. Put your name in, where you live, what university you go to. You'll be surprised what comes up and what's out on the internet that you think is not there. You're smiling, so you understand. Yes. So be very careful with that because employers have the right to do that. And if they see something silly out there, then they're not going to hire you. Okay, communicating bad news. So what is our instinct on communicating bad news? Hussein Malali. So when do you communicate it? First, last? Should be first. But do most people do that? Why not? Afraid of what? So you'd be afraid to bring me something? What is this? Yes, go ahead. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've not heard that before. The sandwich. Good, bad, good. Okay. Mm. But what if it's a crisis situation? Yeah. Good, bad, good. Okay, I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna use that in my wows. But this is a tough one because our nature is not to do it. You had something to say. There's always a way. But you know, you are afraid. It's bad news. You don't want to deliver the news. Obviously, it's bad news. Your boss is going to be upset. Yeah. Well, yeah. Of course, you have to be sure. But before, yeah, you better be sure. But if you don't deliver the bad news, we have the rumor mill. So in Bahrain, is there a rumor mill? Oh, so it's not just Alba. Because in Alba, it's a monster. So in Bahrain, we have it as well. Okay, very good. Yes. Everywhere, yes. That's true, it's everywhere. But I did learn in Bahrain, particularly in Alba, this was a powerful tool which usually was used against me. So if you don't tell the bad news, if you don't deliver the bad news, then the rumor mill takes over and you lose the narrative, you lose control. So if you have bad news, it's better to get it out there. There's nothing you can hide. You can't hide anything today. I mean, look at the U.S. election. We just went through the U.S. election. How much stuff did we see in commercials and media? I mean, it was just never ending. So, but again, if you take the lead, then you take the control of the narrative. So, but again, this is not human nature to do. I like the sandwich idea, and I think you can use that sometimes. But if it's a real crisis situation, no. Like you got to just get it out there. So, but remember this again. People don't want to do this. If I'm your boss, I'd much rather you come to me with the bad news and just put it all on the table. Let's get it out there. I don't want to drip, 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 or, oh, it's not so bad, or we only lose X, and then it turns out to be all achieve the target. Yeah, sandbagging. Yeah, okay. But again, remember this. Tell the bad news first, even though you don't want to. Your instinct is not to do it. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes.
Always to show what was good, to show the good side of it, if possible, and also to show the worst. So it is bad, but there is something else which is worse.
Correct.
Which is not there. So by that,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, yes.
That we are not that down.
Yes. And it's very important. So I'm jumping into this because how you deliver that news, how you talk about it, is a big impact. Okay, and how you deliver the message. So now we're going to talk about the impact of nonverbal communication, okay? So when we speak, we hear something, okay? We translate that into our brain, right? Okay? So do I have a strong voice? Yes, I do. Am I a tall person? Yes, I am. Do I use a lot of body language? Am I using my hands? Yes, okay. So that's telling you a lot without me even saying anything, okay? And so when you're delivering bad news, I mean, depending on how you do it, you raise your voice or you're more soft or you lower your tone. So that also has a big impact. Okay, so when we use this magical device, okay, everybody has one, right? iPhone, okay? So when we do this and I'm talking to you and I pull out my phone, what does that say? I don't want to talk to you. And we all do it. We can't go 2 seconds, can we? We're at the grocery store. Yeah, and it sends such a message to the other person, I don't want to listen to you, you don't matter. So be very careful with the phones. We all do it, but I know the younger generation does it a lot more. It's an instant, you're not important to me. And we all do it. And then in the amount of time we spend on the phones, you know, if you go to settings and you go to screen time, I think everybody can probably do this. It'll tell you how much time you've been on the phone. It's amazing. 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours a day. It's a lot, but the nonverbal communication really delivers the message more than actually what you say, okay? So here we have a picture of a gentleman crossing his arms. When you cross your arms, what does that mean? You're defensive. I'm angry, I'm upset. This is one of mine. I do this by default. I have to be very careful. Yeah, it's like I'm against you. All right, the other one I like to do, if my wife was here, I like to roll my eyes. So if Hisham brought me something, I'm like this, and I'm like, yeah, okay, Hisham. What does that say? I'm not listening to you, yeah. So, and it's very hard. So if you know yourself, just think about that. You know, particularly the crossing the arms is a really big one. But how you stand, your posture, all these things. Again, back to the first impression, it's the same thing, okay? But we tell you so much with our voice and our body versus what we actually say. And I don't think people think about that when you communicate. Okay, this concept is called the 7-38-55 rule. So this is a professor from UCLA. He's done a lot of work on this. So he says, when you communicate, it's only 7% is what you actually say. 38% is the voice tone, my big strong voice. 55% is body language. Now for everybody, this is probably a little different. I would argue my voice tone is probably stronger than my body language, but you get the point. It's your body and your voice are telling the story. It's not what you say. So when we had COVID, did we lose this? Yeah, we went to Zoom, we went to Teams, everything's virtual, and it's good for a lot of things. But it's also bad for a lot of things. In terms of learning and development, I think particularly for younger children, it's very detrimental. So, but I do think the virtual world has shown us a lot of things, but I think we use it too much. And so when you're teaching and in person, so how I deliver the message, if you're in front of me, it's very different than if I'm on Teams and Zoom. I could tell you when I had to teach during COVID over Teams, it was like, it's painful. I mean, and then you're just tired. You're talking to the screen for 2 hours at a time, and nobody's listening. They're blacked out. You don't know what they're doing. And I'll give you a good example of impressions. My students. So I'll say a tougher professor probably in the school, one of the tougher ones. So when we had the Teams and Zooms, everybody's sitting in their room or whatever. Boy, it was really interesting to see what was behind the people. Okay, I had a lot of young men would have their dirty clothes and their underwear hanging up, and so I would tell people, I'm like, can you clean up your room? I don't really need to see what's behind there, your dishes, or they're like, well, what's the big deal? And I'm like, what's the big deal? I said, what does this tell me about you? You're lazy, you're sloppy. That's what it tells me. And they're like, oh, well, you're not supposed to look at that. Oh, I'm not supposed to look at it. What, am I blind? I mean, so just be aware of this virtual world. It's here to stay, but be very careful of your Zoom backgrounds, what's there. Do you have good lighting? What's behind you? Are you ready? I mean, because we all use it, so it's another, again, it creates an impression of just the background, and you didn't even do anything, okay? So again, remember the 738, so that's 93% is from your voice and your body, not from what you say. Okay, so Dr. Najma asked me to do a little focus on leadership and managers, and so I'm going to talk here. So the students, this is good material for you because you all want to be executives and managers, right? You all want to make a lot of money, right? You want to get big bonuses, right? So that means you have to be a manager or an executive, and it's not easy, okay? So the challenges of being a manager. First, this is another wow, it's on the card. This may be one of the most important wows. So what makes you successful at one level is not what makes you successful at the next. I'm emphasizing not. Did I do a good job on that? Not, okay. So what does this mean? So I get promoted and I'm a great accountant, okay, I'm a great accountant. So now now we're gonna make you accounting manager. Is it the same skill set? No, it's a very different skill set. But why do most people get promoted? For doing a good job in their existing job. And then we put them over here and we don't say, well, is he going to be a good manager? Can she handle people? We're going to do this. So look at the position, not so much the person. Do they fit it? Now the challenge is, particularly for people when they're young, you don't know if they're good. And so in Alba, a lot of times we would do acting periods. We let somebody act for 6 months or 9 months in these roles before we would decide. But when you move up to a manager, it's a lot different than managing yourself. Everybody thinks, I can do it, I'm good. And you may be the best person, you're a very good individual contributor. Now when you manage people, you can't manage everybody, okay? So this is very, very important in terms of, and the higher you climb, the more important this is. I can tell you when I went from, I was CFO and then I became CEO, okay? And Dr. Hassan did an excellent job on my CV, so you saw I did a lot of other stuff. I did marketing, I did purchasing. So when I became CEO, I'm like, hey, I know everything, so what do I got to worry about? Well, I had a lot to worry about because CEO's big difference. Because in the past you say, oh, go see the CEO. Let the CEO decide. It's up to the CEO. All right, well, you're the CEO. So I'm like, I have to decide. And I can tell you in Alba, we had a very bad period where we had fatalities in safety, and we had people dying in our plant. I mean, it was really bad, and you're CEO, you're responsible. And so when you're the CEO, you are responsible for everything. There's nobody to go talk to, nobody to go look at. You're in charge. Yeah, and we're going to get to that. Don't be jumping ahead. We're going to talk about ownership later, but so as you move up that ladder, your level of responsibility really grows. And so when you're the manager and if the person doesn't perform, whose fault is it? It's both. But you can't just say, well, they're bad. It's, okay, it doesn't matter. If you rolled up the report and gave it to your boss, it's wrong. You're in charge. You're the manager. Yes, okay, they're responsible, but in terms of you're responsible for other people's work, not just your own. And it's a big difference. And managing people, yes, you get paid a lot more money, but it's hard. And it's not easy. Yes? Dr. Najma's nodding her. Yes, it's not so easy. It's not. It's very hard. Okay, I have a picture. It says, perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. Okay, a lot of fancy words here. Ali Hawachi, what does this mean to you? You don't remember? All right. Muhammad Awadi, I heard you now. You're a manager now. You're acting as a manager. What does this mean to you? Help Hawachi out. He's in Cast House. Right, so when you're the manager, your people follow your feelings, your perception. So if you're positive, they're going to be positive. If you're negative and complaining, they're going to negative and complain. So you as the leader, you drive people's behavior. And particularly when you have bad situations or bad news, you still have to be positive. But this is a big one, and people miss this. And once you start talking negative, everybody feeds off of it. Everybody talks negative. It's real easy to get on the wagon and attack people and say, oh, yeah, did you hear about this? And they did that. Yeah, and I should have got this. And then it's just whoosh. Okay? So in terms of being positive is a big part of being a manager and a leader. You need to be positive. Same in sports, coaching, whatever you're doing, you have to be positive. Okay? But this is a very big wow, particularly for my younger generation. Yes. Yes. Is positive? Yes. Yes. Yeah, I understand. On off him, I understand. Yeah. So, but this is very powerful in terms of, being a leader. You need to be positive. All right, so why do managers fail? This is a really good slide. This is one you won't hear in the academic world. Okay, number one, you think like a doer. So you were the accountant and you became the manager. So you're very good at doing your own job, but managing people, and by the way, nobody trains anybody to be a manager. You get promoted, doesn't mean, you took a class and you're nodding your head. Now you're a manager. Oh, so now you're an expert. Ahmad Al-Shayba, you went from manager to director. Did anybody give you a guidebook to say, yeah, here's how to do it? So how'd you figure it out? You had a good boss, as I remember. You had somebody. You missed that one, but that's okay. That's okay. Hisham Kuhaji, you just got promoted. How did you figure it out? Did you get a playbook? Did somebody say, here's how to be an executive? Train. But a lot of it is just learning by doing. But sadly, we over-promote people, and we make them managers and executives. They have no training. This is why most managers fail. So, okay, micromanaging. So micromanage, this is the worst thing you can do when you're managing your people. People hate being micromanaged, okay? But when you're a good doer, you're used to controlling yourself. Do I have any engineers in here? Yeah, so are engineers typically micromanagers? Everybody's nodding their head, okay. Yeah, engineers, I had a lot of engineers in Alba. So in engineering, there's only one right answer. Okay, in accounting, typically there's multiple answers. But I find my experience, engineers and accountants, by the way, really struggle becoming managers because they want to control everything, they want to do everything, they want to engineer things. So they're taught to do it a certain way, and then they have to manage and trust people. It usually doesn't go very well. So that's a big one. All right, not empowering your employees. You don't want to trust them because when you trust your employees, what happens? Yes, and they fail, then what happens? Are you upset? Because you get burned, right? You say, I'm not going to get burned again, right? Because Hamid didn't do the job. Now I got to step in and do it, right? So this is a tough one. And then when you don't empower, then you start demotivating your people, which is one of the worst things that can happen. You demotivate people. So if you have motivated people and you start micromanaging them and you're on top of them, you're going to demotivate them. So if you have motivated people, let them run. Let them do their job. Give them more work. These are the ones you want to keep. Okay, poor communication. I talked about the best communications direct. That's a big, big, big one. How you communicate. We talked about the 738-55 rule, body language. All these things communicate. So how you communicate to your people is very important, okay? All right, failure to prioritize, lack of time management. This is another one. If you don't have a proper plan, here's my plan of the day and what I'm going to do. If you're not organized as a manager or leader, you're going to fail because you're having to manage other people. So this is a big one. All right, not appreciating your people. Okay, so, and I'm not talking about money, okay? Money is not what motivates people. Everybody gets money, everybody gets salary, everybody gets a bonus. Depending on what industry you're in, it's going to be that. Okay, we all want money. I like money. But not appreciating is a smile, a thank you. I appreciate that. Writing a little card that says thank you. So in Alba, one thing I learned, I used to write thank you cards to people. Personally, I had a little CEO card to thank you. And in the beginning, I didn't really think much of it. And then, and I would do it. It was just something my old boss did, so I did it. I didn't realize how much that meant to people. And in Alba, when I would walk around, I'd see people would have them in their offices. They'd have it framed. They would keep it. So it's just a simple, simple thing to write a person. To write it, not a memo. You write it with your hand. What it meant to people. Ahmed Sugar, you're shaking your head. Did you like the personal thank you cards? But not the minutes of meeting. Okay. That's an inside Alba joke. But little things like that. Okay. In Alba, when I became CEO, I did not speak Arabic. So I started taking Arabic lessons. Did I have to take Arabic lessons? No, I was already CEO. I'd been here 5 years. Better communication, and it was primarily on the safety. Because our shop floor workers, they spoke English, but it wasn't that good. And just to say, hi, how are you? How's your family? Thank you. Remember names. I'm very good with names. It was a huge impact. I wish I had done it sooner. So I'm basic, but the people, when they say, oh, here comes the big American, okay, and he's speaking a little bit of Arabic, okay, they were also a little bit more careful too, but it was big motivation. They really appreciated it. I mean, it really broke through we talked about that communication pyramid. It really, it made a breakthrough. And I wish I had done it sooner. So anyway, I spent 18 months learning it. It's a tough language, but it was worth it, and it made a huge difference in terms of communicating with the workers. So remember, it's the little things. Smile, thank you. Smile, thank you goes a long way. Knowing people's names. Okay, in Alba we have 3,000 some people. If I've met you, I'm pretty good with the name. You'd be surprised. And even today when I go back, and I've been gone for 5 years, 6 years now, I remember most people's names. I'm pretty good, and it's a big difference when the boss knows your name, right? Particularly in a big organization. Okay, treat all feedback as a gift. So Hamid Al-Shaibi, you're a director of HR, right? So you give a lot of feedback. Do people like feedback? Which ones? Can you give me the names of the people that like it? Because is Waleed Tamimi likes feedback? I don't think so, but anyway. Do people generally like feedback? and we'll say negative feedback or criticism. No. Positive's great. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you. All right. You know what? You were late with that report today. Now I'm going to have to talk about this on your personal review. But giving feedback, it's important. I mean, how else do you develop with people if you don't get feedback? You know, think about your parents, a coach, doesn't matter, whoever's giving you feedback. And feedback is a two-way street, okay? So I think where managers, bosses miss, it's like they instruct, they dictate, oh, here's the feedback, but then they don't take the feedback. So when I would give a review, at the end I would always ask, okay, do you have any feedback for me? Because employees generally are probably a little afraid to do it because this is the boss and you don't want to criticize the boss, right? So, but you have to have that level of trust in terms of giving feedback. So, but if you're going to develop, it's critical. It's absolutely critical. So this picture here, this is a book, highly recommend it. There's also a YouTube out there for this. If you go to YouTube and to say thanks for the feedback, it comes up. It's about 45 minutes. So it's an excellent book on giving and receiving feedback. Because if you want true development in your company, it has to be through feedback. This is how you get better. Okay, from the book, there's the author gives you 3 types of feedback. So we have appreciation, coaching, and evaluation. So I'm a card player. Do I have any card players here? Any poker players? Any? Come on, I know you guys play cards. I've been to some of the coffee shops around here. People play cards. Maybe not poker. So my acronym is ACE, A-C-E. So if you remember this, I like to use acronyms. So we have appreciation, coaching, and evaluation. Okay, appreciation is the easy one, but a lot of managers miss it, okay? That and coaching, coaching, everybody likes to get coached, yes? In Alba, a lot of people would call me coach, or they would still call me coach, okay? I played sports. I was always a sports guy. I like coaching. It was something, somebody did it for me, so I do it for other people. But in terms of doing it, people like getting coached, but do then they like to coach? No. See, this is where I think we miss a lot. So people are happy to get trained, develop. I send you for MBA. I send you for training. Okay, great. I got it. But you're going to do it for the next person? Most people don't. If you go look in most people's job descriptions, is there anything that says about coaching? Nope. Even though employees will tell you it's the number one thing, I want coaching. It's not in the job description. Yes, sir. Trainer. And is it in your job description to say about coaching specifically? All right, well, good. I can tell you in any job I've worked, it's never been in my job description, even though it's probably one of the most important things to do. So, all right, then we have evaluation. So coaching and evaluation generally get mixed up, okay? And this is very important because when you're doing somebody's review, maybe they want coaching and not evaluation, or maybe they want evaluation and not coaching. So if you guys are not on the same page, you've defeated the purpose of giving the feedback, okay? So evaluation, I'll say, is more like critical. You're critiquing somebody, okay? Coaching is more just, okay, we get better doing this, but they get mixed up a lot, okay? So this is very important, so. But remember these types of feedback. So when you're giving feedback, just think of these things. Remember ACE, okay, it's an easy one to remember. I read this book. I think I had been CEO for 3 or 4 years. And it really did change the way I gave feedback. I didn't think about this before. So for all my future CEOs and executives, the students who want to be up there, remember this. Because how you give feedback, how you receive, creating this culture, it's very, very critical in terms of feedback. Okay, I have a feedback example here. So these are my children. So this is Faith. Faith is 21. She's in the university. She's studying to be a doctor. And then I have Ethan, and most of my Alba people remember these. Ethan is 24. And he has a job. Now this is, he was probably 22. He's young. And he's working in Houston, Texas. So he has a job. He's working now. So when I give feedback to my children, do you think it's the same way? Yes? No? What do we have? No. Why? They were raised in the same house? Same kids? Same approach? Gender, emotion? So you're saying there's a difference between men and women? Okay, I just wanted to confirm. I was for sure. Yes. So they're very different. So it does change. So feedback's not like there's not like a one size fits all. Here, I'm going to do feedback. This is it. 1, 2, 3. It depends on who the person is. Is it a male? Is it a female? Their age, their experience, the mood. Yes, this is very important. When you are given feedback, particularly as a boss, if you're given a performance review, make sure you're in a good mood. Like if you've had a bad day, that's not the day to do your performance reviews. It's true. And what do we do with performance reviews, Hamad Al-Sheba? We wait till the end of the quarter. We do them all at once. I have 10 meetings. I have to get them done. Hamad's chasing me for them. Right? And to the employee, how important is it to the employee? Very important. And you're like, oh, this is a pain in the ass. I have to do this. Right? All my bosses, executive. And so make sure you're in the right mood. So Faith is much more an extroverted person. You can probably see that in her smile. Ethan is more introverted, your typical boy. He likes sports. So when I give feedback, it's very interesting. So Faith is very clever, okay? So I'll give her feedback on something, and she won't fight me on it too much, okay? And then later, she won't do what I tell her to do. So she avoids the confrontation, okay? Yes. And then my son, he likes to argue with me, just to argue with me, and doesn't agree. So who's right? No one's right. Exactly. No one's right. They're just different, but you have to know that. So me, knowing that, I change my approach a little bit. So with my son, maybe perhaps I'm less aggressive and don't fight with him. My daughter, I try and get her to commit to things, and she doesn't want to commit. So I use the strategy against them. But again, everybody is different. Okay, so that's in terms of giving feedback. Just remember that, whether it's your employee, your boss, your coworker, your wife, your husband, your brother, everything's different. So just remember who they are. So just give me 1 second. I want to get a drink. All right, I'm back. So just remember that again, but the feedback in terms of development of your people, your employees, is very, very important. So I have, your faculty, managers, people here giving that feedback. When you're doing those employee reviews, take the time to do it right. Be in the right mood. This is a very important point, because if you're in a bad mood, it's not the time to give feedback, because it's just going to go badly. And then you defeat the whole purpose of why did you give the feedback? The feedback, you're trying to accomplish something, right? You're trying to deliver a message, share a message, coach somebody, right? And if they're in a bad mood, it's not going to go very well. Okay, extreme ownership. This is another favorite. Abdullah Sayadi's smiling. You remember this. You remember Jocko. Okay. So this is a book written by a Navy SEAL. We use this very much in Alba in the Line 6 project. Okay. And it's all about taking ownership of whatever you're doing to an extreme level. Okay. This is the author. He looks like a Navy SEAL, yes. This is Jocko Willnick. He has some excellent YouTubes. So if you go out there and just do YouTube his name or extreme ownership, and podcast, he does podcasts as well. He's a very good speaker. Okay. He's a tough guy. Okay. So, one of the quotes is probably my favorite quote from the book. He said, "There's no bad teams, only bad leaders." Everybody's thinking about that one, right? So Dr. Najma, what does that mean to you? You're shaking your head. So you agree with me? That's a good saying? Yes. So now, what is human nature, though? Yeah, we like to blame. In Alba, do we blame people? And it still does, Ahmed Bahar. Human nature is to blame somebody else. This is the truth, okay? But when you're the manager, you're the leader, the message here is, one, you can't just change your team if you don't like them. Yeah, and you should look in the mirror and say, if something's going wrong, there's something wrong with me. In the book, he talks about examples where he was the leader of a platoon, and then they changed him, and he fixed the platoon that was doing bad. He went over to it, and he fixed. So the leader is responsible for everything. Okay, everybody has to take ownership too. It's not just the leader, but If it's not going well, it's you. Don't blame us. Oh, it's his fault. It was Hisham's fault. It was Ahmed's fault. It was Muhammad's fault, not mine. Okay, you're the boss. So back to when I was CEO. If it didn't go well, did I get to blame my executives? Say, well, yeah, it was Waleed's fault. I'm in the board meeting. Do you think they care about Waleed? You're the CEO. Why didn't you perform? I don't get to say, oh, marketing didn't perform, or OpEx didn't perform, or HR didn't perform, or the market went against me. Donald Trump got elected. Everything changed. You got to take ownership. So, but he's really good. He's tough. I highly recommend his podcasts and his YouTubes. They're really good. He's a straight talker. It's really good stuff. But the message of no bad teams, no only bad leaders. Look at yourself when things are going wrong. So this is from the book. It's kind of like a summary of it. There's 12 little concepts here. I'm going to focus on a few of them. Okay, number one, the leaders must own everything. So when I say leaders, that's the managers, the faculty in your case here. You have to own it. And don't just think your boss is going to own it. Everybody has to own it, okay? Check the ego. Okay. Oh, big one. So do you have any ego problems in AOU? Put you on the spot here. You don't have to put any names. No names. Just you can just shake your head. Okay. This is a big problem. We all have egos, by the way. Everybody has an ego. Everybody has an ego. And this, depending on the ego level, definitely affects the feedback. But you really have to check this. It's very hard. And when you become successful, you become the boss, you become the CEO, and you give speeches, and everybody tells you how great you are. It's really easy to get the big ego. So be humble. My advice is be humble. When you're humble, people are much more appreciative. But check that ego. And it's hard. When you start climbing the ladder, it's easy to get the ego. Hey, I got promoted. I'm the executive. I'm the manager. I'm the CEO. It's very, very easy to fall into that. All right, and my last one I'm going to talk is have a plan. Okay, so I'm a very big believer in plans. In the book, I have a chapter about, it's called Plan Your Work, Work Your Plan. And this was a saying of my grandfather. Okay, he drilled this into my head. And he always talked about it. Plan your work, work your plan. Plan your work your plan. And it sounds so simple. But every day, just get up. I love to use Post-it notes. So every day I put up, here's my 3, 4, 5 things I want to get done. And I cross them off as I get them done. I know this sounds old school. If you want to use your phones, go ahead, use your phones. There's Task Manager, whatever. But just every day getting up and saying, here's my plan of the day. Here's the 3 things I'm going to get done. It really keeps you focused. It's the simplest thing. And if you don't, you're not organized. And when you're organized, you can do a lot more than you think. When you're disorganized, it just goes whoosh. But again, check the ego, own everything. And again, I highly recommend the book, though, or at least the podcasts. Okay, we're coming into the home stretch, and then we're going to do some questions. All right, coaching is a gift that must be returned. So this is the last chapter in my book. So we talked about coaching. So back to my point. So when you get coached, it is a gift. You don't get paid extra for coaching. You don't get an extra allowance. You don't get an extra bonus. We tried this in Alba. He rejected it. He said, nope, we're not paying for that. All right, we're still doing it, but I wanted to pay for it. Hamid said, no way. NAO will be audited. It's not allowed. But really, think about it. It's a gift. Think about it. You can play sports. Everybody's probably played sports or had a coach in something, whether it's sports, anything you're doing. They're given their time, and even if they are getting paid, it's probably not much, right? Coaches, unless you're in the major leagues or the soccer leagues, you're not getting that much. They're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They want to coach you. They want to develop you. Somebody coached them, so they're just doing it. They're returning it. But it really is a gift. Because when you coach somebody, is it more work? Yes. Is it a pain? I don't have time for this. I don't want to do this. Why do I have to coach them? I can do it faster myself. Why do I have to train them? It's a lot of extra work. And by the way, not everybody's meant to be a coach. A lot of people don't want to be a coach. So when you get it, when somebody gives it to you, it's a gift. In my book, I talk about it. In my book, if you read it, I had one really big coach mentor in my life, and he totally transformed me. And he treated me like his son, for all intents and purposes. And originally, he was very tough with me, so I didn't know what he was doing. In the end, I kind of figured it out. But he didn't need to do that. He didn't get paid extra to do that. And why I was so successful in Alba is because of the training he gave me. So, but it's a gift. So when somebody coaches you, spends the time with you, dedicates the time, just, thank them. And also, you have to go search out for your coaches. Don't think they're just going to come up and say, "Oh, Hussein Mallah, I heard you're a great guy. Can I coach you?" Yeah, please. Hassan Qadri, that might be different. Everybody wants to coach this guy. Yes? Hussein, Khalid Mursal, now that's a whole different story. All right. But it's a gift. So remember that. It's a big gift. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. So when you get coaches, embrace them, thank them, and it's so critical to your development. Anybody you talk to, any business, they'll say coaching is number one. Employees want coaching. And back to job descriptions, it's rarely in the job description. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about coaching versus mentoring, because these get used a lot together and they're very different. So first, I have a question for the audience. So if you agree everyone is coachable, raise your hand. If you agree every person is coachable, raise your hand. If you agree. Wow, we all have negative people here. Okay. How come you don't think everybody can be coached? Yeah, okay, one. Hassan, that's good. Why not? You don't think everybody can be coached? No? Now I'm going to rephrase the question. Does everyone want to be coached? No. That's a big no. A lot of people don't want to be coached. I know what to do. I'm the best. I'm not going to listen. Everyone is coachable if they want to be coached. The ego. Check the ego. Yeah. In Alba, I had a lot of practice checking egos. Yes? Waleed's smiling here. And it's not easy. It takes time and effort, patience, pain. But everybody is coachable, but when you're the manager, you're the boss, you need to figure out who wants to be coached. And by the way, most people will tell you they want to be coached, even if they don't want to be. Coach me, yeah. And then they don't listen to you, and you're like, wait a second, you said you wanted to be coached, and you're not listening to me. Because you don't have the time to waste. It's a lot of extra work, so your coaching time is valuable time. So you really need to pick the right people to coach. You had a question, your hand raised. What was it? Or did I answer it already? Okay, so you think everybody could be coached? Yeah, but not everybody wants to be coached, and this is a fact. So you as the boss, the leader, the manager, you got to figure out who really does want to be coached and allocate your time wisely, because it's, yes, sir. Coaching a student. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's that much different than a worker. I think a lot of people do want to be coached. I think a lot of students don't. I think a lot of students want to get their degree. I'll get my degree. I know I'm smarter than you, and I graduate and go out. So, but when you find somebody who wants to be coached and you find the coach, that's when magical things happen. That's when true development really happens. If you really want to get to the top, as a coach, I can yell at you, I can make you run, I can make you do push-ups, I can be tough on you. I can take you to one level. But if you want to get to this level, you have to be self-motivated. You have to want to be coached. So, but this is a big one, okay? So now we're going to talk about coaching versus mentoring. All right, so this is my definition. This is not in any textbook. Yes, sir, Dr. Hassan. All right.
Now, I believe as an instructor or a university professor, you have to be coach, because you are guiding students to reach their goals. So you have to be a coach. Other than is not accepted, because at the end you're delivering knowledge, and you want to make sure that this knowledge is delivered to the student. So itself, this guidance is a coaching. So you like it or don't like it, is a coaching. Yes.
But they have to want to be coached. Otherwise, so it takes two to tango, as we say. Okay. All right. So coaching, I'm going to make you better in your existing job. All right. So Hassan, do you play sports? What do you play? Okay. So basketball, football, I can't really help you with, but basketball, I can help you. So I could probably make you a better basketball. I could teach you better this shot, whatever. That's coaching. I'm going to make you're a good player. I'll make you a great player. Okay. But that's, yeah, professionally, make a lot of money. Then you don't have to worry about college and that stuff, right? He has to be a millionaire. He'll take care of you. So my example here, average player, good player. Okay, business, you're an accountant. Okay, I'll make you a better accountant. I'll make you CPA. I'll train you. I'll make you a really good accountant. Mentoring is totally different. So I'm going to take you out of an existing role and put you in something totally different. Okay? And this throws people out of their comfort zone. Do people like to be thrown out of their comfort zone? No? All right, Wally Tamimi, when you joined Alba, what was your position? Master black belt. And then what position did you go into? Okay, and then what did you go into? And then what did you go into? And so you had a degree in all these to do this? So you were switched. Did you have a choice? Well, you did have a choice. You could have left the company, but you said no, you could have left. I mean, nobody's forcing you to do it. But he went from totally different roles. Master black belt. Does anybody know what a master black belt is? Six Sigma. Anybody heard Six Sigma? Yeah, it's statistics. They're usually strange people. Okay. So then you went into supply. You don't know anything about supply chain. Why'd you go into supply chain? It's a great but you went totally out of your comfort zone. Yeah. And were you stressed? Were you smoking more? And drinking coffee more? All right. So, well, he gives away a lot with his body language, okay? So, but it's a good example of moving people around, okay? And when you take them out of their comfort zone, and by the way, this doesn't always work. People won't accept. Maybe they don't adapt. But until you do it, you don't know. And this is where you see kind of the true development of becoming, if you want to really become a leader and an executive, you have to be resilient and be able to absorb and change. It's great to go, yeah, I'm an accountant, I'm a senior accountant, I'm an accounting manager, I'm a finance director, I'm a CFO. Okay, nobody really mentored you there, you just followed one path. All right, now you went from accountant to marketing person to purchasing person to CEO. Okay, it's very different. But mentoring, you're going to feel really uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. And again, it's not for everybody, but if you really want to be developed, if you really want to change, mentoring is really important. Okay. My examples here, okay, we talked about the good player. So is the best player always the captain? Why not? He's the best. Oh. Maybe they're not even that talented, but they're the captain, right? Their leadership skills. So it's very different. Just because you're the best at something doesn't mean you're going to be the leader. And when you put in sports together, when you put the dream teams, all the best players together, do they usually play well? No. Why not? Ego, arrogant. Everybody thinks they're Michael Jordan. Everybody thinks they're, would LeBron Jordan and Michael Jordan and LeBron James be good teammates? I don't think so. Right? Yeah, and there were some that didn't. So, but usually it's the best player is usually not the captain, and when you put all A personalities, all the best together, they rarely work well together. So when you're the leader picking people for a certain role, they don't always have to be the best. The best team is not all the A players. It's the right players that complement one another. So that's a big one. What's that? Also the coach. Yeah, I mean, you look at the coaches, they come and go. The great coaches, somehow, Coach K, who was the Laker guy, the Bulls guy. Phil Jackson. I mean, trying to manage NBA players, I mean, their egos are the size of the moon, right? I mean, so my example here was, okay, you get promoted from CFO to CEO. So as I told you, when I became CEO, I knew Alba inside and out. I knew all the functions, all the positions, and I'm like, okay, I'm CEO. And really, it was really different because you were responsible for everything. And it was just, everybody's coming to you for every decision, do this. And before it was like, well, go see the CEO. It's not my problem. I'm CFO. This is related to marketing, or purchasing. It's a very different mindset. So fortunately, I was mentored by a very good, tough mentor. So he developed me. But again, back to mentoring, coaching, mentoring is not for everybody. I think coaching, everybody can use some coaching. But mentoring, so just think about that. And if somebody is mentoring you and being tough on you or challenging you, give them some slack. Let them do it. Maybe they have something they're trying to do and you don't realize it. Because a lot of times the boss will do something. Maybe you don't agree. Maybe you don't see what the boss is thinking for a future step. Okay, so it's very, very different, but very important. All right, bonus material. In Bahrain, do people like bonuses? Yeah, but Bahrain, I think it's really important. I mean, every February in Alba, bonus, bonus, bonus. Boss, what's the bonus? How many? 1, 2, 3. How many bonuses? I think Bahrain is a little bit more important than most places. I don't know, but so we like bonuses. So you're getting a bonus today. Motivation, yeah. People like the money here too, though. It's just everywhere. Yes. Okay. Recommended management books. So I'm a big reader. So these are some very good books. Most of these are very easy books to read. Okay. And you can also get them on audiobooks. Some of them are on YouTube's. So you have the first one. That's mine with the Cardinal, The Words of Wisdom. Very easy book to read. Even Dr. Hassan read it. Yes. Yeah. Well, he read the first chapter. We'll have the quiz later. Okay. 5 Temptations of a CEO. So this is an awesome management book. Very simple read. I'd say this is a maximum a few days read. Okay. My book, I think you can read in 2 hours. It's that simple. I have a story on the 5 Temptations of a CEO when we're talking about going back to being the boss and the leader. So when you're the boss, you're the CEO. Does everybody listen to you? They have to. Okay. The Sham Kuheji. Yes? No? Always? Why not? I'm the boss. Why aren't you going to listen to me? Are you going to obey? If I'm the boss, I give an instruction. Dr. Najma, when you give an instruction, does everybody listen? No. Why not? You're the boss. She's a Democratic boss. Okay, so Donald Trump's a Democratic boss. All right. So people don't always listen to the boss. All right, for parents, we'll flip it to parents. Do your children listen to you? No, but why not? You're the dad, you're the mom. It depends on the subject. All right, so when I became CEO of Alba, I'm a big reader, so I was part of my coaching. I wanted to develop people, so I gave all my executive managers 5 Temptations of a CEO. Very easy book to read. Very, very easy book. And I said, we're going to have a little workshop. And I think I gave everybody a month to read it. And I run the workshop. So we come to the workshop and we start, I have slides like this and we're going through the concepts and this. And, it was clear most people didn't read the book. But I'm the CEO. I said, read the book. And they didn't. So why didn't they? Maybe not motivated. Yes, good point. Didn't believe it. Not part of their job description. But I'm the boss. I told them to do it. They didn't listen to me. Yes. So don't think because you're the boss, you're the parent, whatever, that people are always going to listen to you. They have to kind of believe in you to some degree. All right, so after that, I was quite upset. And it was a lesson for me as the boss. Don't assume everybody's listening to you. You give instruction, you think, it's going to be done. It was a big eye-opener for me. So the next time we had an offsite, I think we did, might have been So What? I don't remember which book it was. I don't think it was Make Your Bed. But anyway, I gave another baby book. I gave 6 weeks, okay? But to ensure enforcement, compliance, every week, everybody had to send what page number they were on that they read to my secretary. And I had a big list. And I'd get the list, and I'd forward it to all the managers. And I'd say, hey, Ahmed, great, you're on page 2. You can get to page 4 next week, maybe? So we did a little bit of public shaming. Then, to go to the offsite, they had to come to my secretary and answer 3 questions and sign that they read the book. Yeah. Paid them. Well, if they didn't do it, I had another alternative, so. Extra job. What about extreme ownership? Okay. So, and if you didn't come to the offsite, there's a good chance you wouldn't be at Alba for much longer. So it worked. All right, now by the end, yeah, they understood. Mhm. No, they had to answer some questions, so they had to understand. Yes, it was micromanaging. Sometimes you have to micromanage. As you as the boss, long run, no. In the short run, sometimes you have to get stuff done. It's critical. You do have to micromanage. In the long run, no. So by the end, when I left people this, they got a book. I think most people enjoyed the book. We stopped the enforcement tools. But it was just a lesson, you know what I mean? Because you're the boss, right? I mean, so you have to do it. So there are times you have to micromanage. But in the long run, if you're doing it, you're doing something wrong. But as the boss, if something's not getting done, you have to get it done. You got to go meet your board or the minister, and so-and-so didn't get the work done. You get it done, right? So at the end of the day, you got to get things done. All right, Make Your Bed. This is by he's a military guy. This is a great video. It's taken from a speech called Make Your Bed. He spoke at the University of Texas commencement speech. So just YouTube it. You can just watch it. It's great. So What? This is all about communicating and the premises of the book. So what? Why am I listening to you, Mr. CEO? What's in it for me today? Okay, so when you present, you have to make it about the audience, not about you. Extreme Ownership, we talked about. Team of Teams, this is another military book. It's all about decentralizing and trusting and making decisions, this is about the U.S. military in Iraq and Afghanistan, and about how they went from a giant bureaucracy to teams of teams. So they trusted and decentralized. It's a really good book. Some good YouTubes by this guy as well. Fearless Organization, this is about safety. So it's a little bit more maybe in terms of the management of safety, but it's an excellent book to read. The last one's a really good one. It's called The One Thing, and it's all about prioritizing your life, your goals, to the extreme of what's the one thing that's most important. It sounds very simplistic, but it's a very good book. Very easy to read. And then I have read 15 minutes a day. Could be. You can make the bookmarks 15 minutes. So in a day, how many minutes are in a day? We have 60 minutes in an hour times 24. Hussein, you're an engineer. Calculation. 1,440, so roughly 1,500. So it's only 1% of the day. As we talked about before, when you go check your screen time on your iPhone, I think you can take 15 minutes from there, probably find some time. And reading's important. When you read, you have to put the phone down. There's no bings, there's no buzzes. I like to do it at night. It clears your head. I know people don't like to read, but really it's a lost art, and it's sad because it's the basis of all learning is reading, really. As much as we want to say everything digital, you still have to read something. We're not into the Matrix yet, where they plug it into your head, right? Have you seen the Matrix? Yeah. You live the Matrix. So anyway, these are some excellent books. With that, I will open it up for Q&A. So that's the end of the presentation. Go ahead, you can. Hamad Al-Sheba with a question.
Actually, the audience watching Cardinal, and the Cardinal, they are not aware. Maybe you can explain to them.
What is the Cardinal?
I know it's a red
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So my company,
so
my company logo is a cardinal. So I live in Virginia. So Virginia is near Washington, D.C., if anybody familiar with the U.S. So the cardinal is the state bird, okay? But the cardinal is also known for something else. The cardinal is known to bring good luck. So when you see a cardinal, when cardinals are near, the saying is angels appear. So the cardinal is a sign of good luck. So yes, it's my pin, it's my company logo. But the cardinal is meant to bring you good luck. So good question, Hamad.
Question maybe based on
You're using the sandwich philosophy
previous
here. Good,
experience.
bad, good.
Previous experience.
Yes.
Dry run.
Dry run.
Maybe the student will really like it
I could've
because
put that in.
this part maybe we don't do it, but the
Yeah.
student.
So dry run. So in Alba, Abdullah Sayadi, this is a good question for you. Okay. Dry runs is preparing. So like this presentation. So today, I came down here. What time did we get down here, Dr. Najma? It was 120, I checked out the screen, checked out the projector, checked out the clicker. We had an issue with the clicker, right? But we fixed it, okay. Dry run is making sure everything's ready. And when you do it 1 or 2 times, so for my students where I teach, when they present to me, I can tell you they do several dry runs before they present. And when you do it, like I mean really do it, the full presentation. Okay, for this presentation, how much time do you think I took to prepare for it? How many hours? 1 hour, 2 hours, 15 minutes. I'm not that good. How many hours? 20, what I got? 20 slides, so 6 hours. 3 hours. Wow. 10 hours.
I think it was your experience.
I still had to prepare it though. 20 years. Hussein Malali, how many hours? Wow, okay. 2 to 3. Ahmed Shukri, what's your estimate?
I would say probably for every minute, you prepare 5 minutes. So if this was an hour and a half, probably guess 8 hours.
Yeah, I'd say, and it's not just putting the slides together. Putting the slides together was probably a couple hours maximum, okay? But preparing it, going through it, okay, and then the slide flow, I cut probably 7 or 8 slides. So once I put the presentation together, I actually go through it in my mind and the flow, and if something doesn't flow, I delete it or I move it. And this is it's a very hard thing to teach, but in terms of the flow, that takes a lot of time to get the flow right, okay? Then to go through it, I have my notes, I have my handwritten notes on every page. Then I practice it. Then I did it in my hotel. I videoed myself. So I did a lot. Okay, but it came across very natural, right? Doesn't look like I prepared, correct? But that's how you become good, is preparing that much. So the dry run, so in all your stuff you're doing, students, if you're doing presentations for somebody, do a dry run. Come down, do the whole thing, do the presentation, actually do it before you actually give it to the professor. You'll find a lot of mistakes, I'm sure you.
The last one.
What is this? How many
CEO
questions you get here?
project. CEO project, because you killed us on that.
CEO challenge.
Challenge, yes, project.
Well, that's the name of my class. So now in Alba, I used to make people present to me. I'd give them some topic, random topic. They'd have to analyze it, put it in a presentation, wear a suit, and come present it to me. This is the premise of the class I teach now in college. So it's the same thing. And it's really about teaching public speaking. Okay, how to put together a simple. Were my slides very simple today? Could you all read them? No ugly charts, tables, nothing cut and paste from the internet? Yes. Is that normal in presentations? No. And you go to presentations, you can't even read the presentation. It's horrible. It's too much information. So I teach them this, and then being quick on your feet, because then you'll have to answer questions. So that's kind of the premise of the C. I'm glad you remember it. I thought you forgot about this stuff. Evaluation, okay. Okay, I don't know, I'll shave is on fire today. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
There you go.
Just a quick comment. Failing to plan is a planning to fail.
Yes, sir, I agree.
What does it mean to you?
If you don't have a plan, you're going to fail. So, it's like the same thing I said every day when you come in. If you're not organized, if you don't have a plan, what are you trying to execute? Like if you're just aimlessly wandering. So, yeah, failing to plan is planning to fail. It's a very good, I like that. We can make that a wow. We'll put that in the next bookmark. Other questions? Ooh.
So basically you said it took you a couple of hours to get this ready.
Yes.
When you started teaching, how long was your first slide? How long did that take?
Yeah, when I started teaching, it was really hard because first I had to kind of put together a curriculum, which I had to give to the students. I had to structure the semester, what I was going to do, and then I kind of backed into, so here's my plan, and then how am I going to do it? And then, what order should it be? What's most important, because my class very much builds upon itself. So week 1, you learn X, 2, and so each week you use a different thing. the first semester was a lot of work, man. I mean, for for what they pay professors, it's not very good, Dr. Najma. So it's a lot of work. I don't know, but it was hard, and I would say it took me probably 2 semesters to feel comfortable, like that I had a rhythm, I knew what I was doing, because I would do it, and then I would learn. I would get feedback, so I could tell just by watching the students. I can tell what's good or bad. They didn't like it, so I would alter. So it probably took me 2 full semesters to cycle out good, bad, what they liked. So, good question. Then it gets easier, yeah. But even this, like I have done this speech in different forms, still, 8 to 10 hours. It's still a fair amount of work. Yes, sir. We've got the mic. Who's got the? Oh, Ahmed Bahar. All right. You get you have Wasta here, so okay.
Thanks, Coach Tim, for this powerful and really ignited sessions. Can you explain a little bit us more about synergy and resilience?
Synergy. I should be asking you what synergy is. He's turning it around on me. Yeah. No, he's clever. He's learned. I think Dr. Najma's coached him here. This is okay. All right, so synergy. Synergy, the quick definition is 1 + 1 = 3. So how is that possible? Because 1 + 1 = 2. So it's how does the sum of the parts, become more than the individual parts. And this goes to teamwork, leadership. When you have a well-functioning team, take sports. Let's take Michael Jordan. I like the Bulls. So, they had tremendous synergy, so that they were better than just 5 players, even though there was only 5 players. So it's finding that way to motivate people to work, to trust. Because when you break down the barriers and people start trusting one another, then everybody's not hiding things, right? And if they are, it takes so much longer to get things done. So it brings you back to efficiency. So basically, it's getting more from the individuals as the sum of the parts. So, yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, your lectures and from your book.
All right, you read it.
Yes.
More than chapter 1.
This is on page 26.
Okay, all right.
Chapter 5. Now, you say that, as the saying goes, we are all one step away from humility.
Yes, we are.
And you say that which the former Alba CEO learned the hard way.
Yes.
I believe this former CEO is you.
No, I came after that CEO. Yeah,
okay.
he learned the hard way. He was French, I'm American, so you know who won on that one.
Okay, so if you just say something about humility, because now we are in a season where people take humility to be weakness.
Yes,
yet
correct.
I believe humility.
No, it's a strength. I agree with you.
Yeah, I believe humility is power under control.
I agree. That's a nice way to say it. Power under control. That's a new wow. But the example there, our former CEO, he was, he was a very arrogant person, and he wasn't listening to people. We were having very bad performance, and I think he felt he was untouchable, like nobody was gonna. So when I say 1 step away from humility, he lost his job like that and didn't see it coming. So that's where that saying comes from. But back to being a humble leader, I talked about it in the presentation. It's hard because when you become the boss, the CEO, the big person, it's very easy to get that ego. And so really when you look in the mirror, check yourself, because humility is a powerful thing. Be a humble leader. I agree with you. Humility is power. And I think today we've lost a lot of that, particularly with social media, because it's all about me, and here's my selfie, and here's my video, and here's TikTok. It's all about me, right, versus others. The book, you'd really like the book, So What? This kind of goes into what you're talking about. So I'd recommend you get that book. It talks about being humble and genuine. But it's a very good question. Other questions in the
I have
back?
a question here, yeah.
Wow, we got a lot of questions here.
Yeah, one question, if you allow me. Mr. Tim.
Yes. You already asked a
Yeah,
question.
one more question.
All right.
Yeah, from your profile, we have seen that you were in CEO position for a long time.
Yes.
Now, as a CEO, where did you find yourself? As a manager or as a leader?
Ooh, there's a ball. Yeah, so we actually, yeah. I would say I started, I'd say there was a bit of an evolution there. So in the beginning, I think I was more of a manager getting things done. And then I would say I evolved a bit more into the coach. Is it a fair statement, Alba people? Of course you're going to say yes, but okay. No. Tell me the truth. All right, yeah. No, but I think I evolved. In the beginning, it was more like getting stuff done. I got to perform. I got to do this. And then as I got a little bit more comfortable, I think I got more into the coaching. Because even like what Hamid mentioned on the CEO Challenge, that was just, it wasn't something I planned to do. It was just, you know, it just kind of happened. So good question. Go ahead. Next one.
Okay, can I?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for the very insightful. Yes, thank you very much for your presentation. It's really very inspiring. I like the presentation, and I like it very much. Today I have a conference, by the way, I'll be presenting.
Okay.
And I'm gonna change my PowerPoint based on, yeah.
Good.
I really like the part about mentorship and coaching. And my question to you is, what do you do if you see that one member of your team is non-coachable? He refuses. He has a very big ego, or she has a very big ego, and thinks that, you know, that person knows it all.
Yeah. No, when you have a team member that's not performing or difficult, you don't have to coach everybody. So, you know, no, but if they're doing their job and they're not causing a problem, that's fine. You know, I mean, not everybody's meant to be a manager. Not everybody's meant to be coached. Now, if they're being difficult or causing problems, that's a different issue, and then you document it. But not everybody wants to be coached, and that's okay. By the way, and really, you don't have time to coach everybody. You really have to be selective in your time. You know, as a manager, you only have so much time, and so you got to pick people that want to be coached and are the right people, because you just don't have time to do it all. And I'm glad you're changing your presentation. Good. Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah, I don't understand what you're saying. Yeah, okay. So the question is direct communication lead to micromanagement? There, okay? Yeah. Now, the direct communication, you don't have to do it for everything. You know, maybe I should have framed it different. You know, the direct communication is for very big issues, strategic issues, change. You know, something that everybody needs to know. But in your day-to-day, you know, when I'm doing a town hall meeting, I don't do a town hall meeting every day, right? So that's direct communication. So no, I don't think it should be that, yeah, you're jumping over everybody all the time. But I do think for very important big issues or messages or change management or, you know, some big strategic decision, it's much better if it's heard from the leader, again, in like a town hall forum. So no, I don't think you should be jumping into your person's job every day and leading. So if I said that or conveyed it, that was not what I meant. So good question. Yeah, I've read it. Very good book. Yeah, it's an excellent book. Have you read the 7 Highly Habits of Effective People? It's also very good. Yeah, Power Habits, an excellent book. The Habit Loop, yes, excellent book. Questions. Some more lady questions. We want some lady questions here. Go ahead. Just talk loud.
Okay, thank you very much. So you said that not everybody can be coachable.
Not everybody wants to be. Everybody can be.
But I have a question, like, can every, let's say, a manager or a team leader, can anyone be a coach? Or it needs like a special
I think, you know, it's a good question. I don't think everybody's meant to be a coach, even if you're a manager. A lot of people don't want to do it or don't have the skills to do it. I think some are better than others, but I do think if you really try, like say it's not a natural thing and you do some training, I think you can get the basics, but not everybody's meant to be a coach. No. A lot of people don't want to be either.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for this presentation. You kept us engaged, and that's really important. And most important thing that we get out with a lot of lessons. So thank you so much for that. I've read few chapters of your books.
See, it was easy. It was easy.
Actually, it was, because when I started, I thought I'm gonna read only one chapter, few pages, and I'll get bored, but that did not happen. So
see, Dr.
Thank
Hassan,
you, so
you can do it. More than one.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things I've noticed from the chapter I've read that it's easy flowing, easy to understand, easy to get into, and easy to get lesson out of. So what, and the same thing happened with the presentation here today. So I'd like to ask, when in your life or when in your career you feel that you have developed this ability to connect, and how can you develop that?
That's a good question. So the question is, how can you develop the ability to connect? Okay. So the book's an interesting story. The book, I wrote that during COVID. So I had finished with Alba. I had come back to the United States. Of course, COVID happened. We didn't do anything during COVID. So I probably spent 2 to 3 hours a day on the book, maybe 4 hours a day. It took me 9 months to publish it. Okay. So, and this is a tiny little book, right? I mean, it was very painful. I don't consider myself a good writer. I really don't like writing. I did it. I made it very painful. I did it. I haven't written another book since because I really don't like writing, which is strange because I thought being a reader, I would be a good writer, and I'm not. Okay, the book I think is good, but it was painful. I had an editor help me. I really didn't like writing, which is a shame because it is a good way to communicate, and I should do another book. But I don't know, when did I become this is a good question. I've always considered myself a pretty good speaker. In Alba, I did Toastmasters, and when I did it, I thought I didn't really need to do it, and I really benefited from it. So if anybody hasn't done Toastmasters, do Toastmasters. Even if you think you're a great speaker, do Toastmasters. There's like 10 basic speeches. It really makes you a better speaker. I don't know, and in Alba, I'd say obviously it was more when I became CEO because I had to speak a lot in front of the big groups in the direct communication. And you only get better by doing it. So public speaking, you're not going to read a book or watch a video and become a good public speaker. You have to do it and do it and do it and practice and practice and practice. Not everybody can do it, but it does take a lot of practice and effort. It's not like you just you're a great speaker. That's wonderful. So I would say it was over time more a function of my job. I don't know. It's a good question, but I like it. But I wish I was a better writer because I really don't like writing. It's hard. It's very hard. So, good question. Over here. Yes.
Thank you for this session. It was really informative. I read most of the chapters of your book, especially the ending of each chapter.
Okay. Yeah, I made it easy. It's easy.
Yeah, I made it very easy. Yeah.
Okay.
So my question is, you have reached CEO level, and there must be a lot of skills that is related to the job that you have, let's say, mastered. But when it comes to the personal skills, like today when you're speaking, your communication, your public speaking skills, the way you're treating people even before the session, it was very, very in a top level. So how do you have the time to improve those kind of skills when you're really busy trying to reach your daily goals?
So the question is, how do you manage your time? So you read Wow's chapter 2, right? So Wow's chapter 2 was, you can always do more than you think, number 1. Now, it's not easy, but I do believe if you plan your day, if you're organized, you can achieve much more than you think. We as humans, we always hold back. We don't want to overcommit ourselves. And when you're really pushed, you can do more. If you're not pushed to the limit, you don't know the limit. So, but it's a lot of. I mean, I go back to planning and organizations. I think a big part of why I'm successful is I really plan and I'm really organized, which allows me to take on a lot more work than I would otherwise. And then the rest in the speaking and greeting, I mean, that just comes with some time and some practice, but it does make a big difference, doesn't it, in terms of getting here, how you greet people, how you're dressed. The little things do matter quite a bit.
A question?
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim, for today's session.
Yes.
My question is, from your personal experience, how much does faith and morality, how much do they play a role in a CEO's job, in enhancing a CEO's job?
Good question. So faith and morality. So this is not one I usually get. So I think it plays a big role in who you are. Okay, so I was raised a Christian. I went to church. I went to a Catholic high school. I wouldn't say I'm an overly religious person. But the fundamentals of your religion and your values, it is drilled into your head at an early age, right? So I do think it does become a part of you, so and who you are. And I do think if you are a genuine person, a moral person, you are a much more effective communicator, right? I mean, people see through BS pretty quickly. Or I think personally, I do. So if somebody's just talking, the ego is a big example. When you see the egos, you can kind of gauge people very quickly. So no, I think it has a big part in who you are ultimately. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
And we really appreciate it. The third point, which is motivation. As a CEO of a huge organization like Alba, how would you express or how would you know what are your approaches to motivate your staff? Okay, and how would you, or have you ever witnessed any, transformation after your motivation? Because I truly believe that motivation changes people.
Yes.
So have you ever witnessed something like that? And what are your approaches?
So the question is, how do you motivate people, and then have you seen the benefits of doing that? So, as I mentioned before, I don't think money motivates people to really develop and go beyond themselves. Everybody wants money, and money's important. Don't get me wrong, but really, it's the appreciation, the feedback, showing you genuinely care, training people. In Alba, I got involved in a lot of community events, which in the United States I wouldn't do that, which was interesting to me. It was something I learned because it's much more a family-oriented culture, particularly Alba. In the U.S., companies 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you move, you go somewhere else. Alba, you stay there your life. It's fathers, sons, daughters. So I became much more part, I think, of Bahrain culture through Alba, which I think did motivate people. They saw, okay, he's a genuine person. He's not just here and flying in and flying out. So me learning Arabic, I think, motivated. I think people were very surprised I learned Arabic. I think in terms of connecting with people, it was a huge difference in terms of communicating and delivering messages. No, in terms of motivating people to do stuff, I have a lot of good examples here. But let me pick on our most recently promoted executive, because you went through a lot of development, I think, through me. So a few words from you.
Yeah, I've been coached by Tim personally. So my name is Hisham, currently the CMO of Alba, and I've been recently promoted into this role. But I was personally coached for many years. I think in terms of motivation, there were many aspects that motivated the employees. One, opportunity was available for everyone. It was very clear that if you worked hard, you would get rewarded. That was the vision that was available. People believed in it. And people who didn't work hard, they're not going to get promoted. They're not going to get in that level. So the platform that Tim created was there. Second thing is the challenge. He provided us many challenges that took us out of our comfort zone and allowed us to really thrive and be the best version of ourselves. That was through, for example, the CEO Challenge. It was touched upon earlier. The CEO Challenge was a platform where Tim would give you an opportunity. He'd give you a question, real-life question, that he might actually use that information to make a real-life decision at Alba. And you, as an employee, want to prove yourself to the top guy in the organization as a CEO. That platform was an amazing platform for everyone to kind of show themselves and create an opportunity for themselves in front of the CEO of the company. So those are two ways. I can also add, for example, in terms of reward, Tim always showed personal interest in people's stories. So he knew people by name, he knew their family, he knew their kids. He would sometimes call you to his office and just ask about you and your family. So that personal interest was really, really important. And that's where people will get that kind of motivation to know that the CEO actually cares and supports and has personal interest in the family. So, rewarding as well, not money. Rewarding would be, for example, a shirt or a cap, baseball hat, handwritten note. I mean, I could go on and on, but yeah. But that's pretty much how it is. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now I will take it slow because I haven't smoked for a while. But if you may allow, if you may allow me, I'll speak heart to heart. And they say the eyes are the soul to the eyes are the door to the soul. If I may, just look at the audience while I speak to them. In fact, if I want to talk about this man, we have lived a journey with Tim Mori, and he's close and near and dear to all our hearts, the family of Alba. I cannot do him justice in few minutes, even if you allow me 15 or 20 or an hour. I honestly, with all sincerity, I cannot do him justice in the transformation that he has done to Alba as a company within Bahrain, a flagship, and to all our lives. Now, there was a question from Doctor over here. Was Tim a boss, and when, if he was, when did he and how did he convert to a leader? And he answered it with all sincerity. He said, yes, I started as a boss. And basically, Tim has taken us and he's lived with us through the Alba evolution. Alba was at one point in time a flagship of Bahrain. And he took it basically in a quantum leap to the next level. If you want to envision the evolution that we went through, and I believe we had a question from over here, look at over here, that set of books. This is an evolution. A question, why would you force people to read? In reality, when Tim started, and he knew the Bahraini culture is a religious culture, and when he first started and he had a vision in his mind, he said to us, I don't care if you do not read the books. Read your Quran for 15 minutes a day. That's how he started. And then each one of those books was not arbitrary. There was a story in Alba where there is a point driven by the book. And I'll give you an example. We actually started, if you remember, Tim, the 5 Temptation. This is when he took helm. This is when he became the CEO. And he had a famous saying, I want everybody to treat Alba's money as if it was your own money. I want everybody to be the CEO of Alba. Hence is the book. You look at the far end, extreme ownership. You've all heard story 2017. We had a crisis. And in fact, because of the implementation of this, the extreme ownership, we have converted and transformed a crisis into an unbelievable world success story. And I'll tell you something. Coincidentally, last night before I slept, and I was on Instagram, sorry about that, but a quote actually caught my attention because he actually told us to pay attention to the quote and the meaning. And I liked it, and I wanted to ponder on it, so I posted on my Instagram and on my WhatsApp status. And today, I just wanted to think about it further. Today, actually, I was contemplating about what Tim has presented and his journey with us and our journey with him over 7 years CEO, 12, 13 years in Alba. The quote actually by Leonardo da Vinci, it says, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And what you see over here is actually a very simple presentation of a cocktail of 30 plus years of extreme experience of this man through his previous life and the life of Alba and post Alba in many things that he's doing right now, including Alba. He's basically presenting it to you in a very simple way with the ultimate sophistication. And I'll tell you, he doesn't need to do this presentation. He, in reality, he's a world-known man. I know the conferences they call for him. And when he's here, he basically practices what he preaches. He said, coaching is a gift, and mentoring is a gift. And he's telling you, the gentleman we met him, his coach, a gentleman by the name of John Skladden, Tim is a big and tough boss, I'll tell you. We've all worked with him. I mean, when it comes to business, he is not an easy boss, but we love him. And in front of his boss, his mentor, full respect. And what he's doing over here, his boss, his mentor, his coach told him, coaching is a gift. Tim, I'm going to give it to you. You got to pass it. What he's doing right now, he did it to all of us. And what he's doing it right now, he's passing it to us and all of you. My own personal story, a transformation from a numbers guy. I was a statistician, and honestly, ego was there. I am really good at statistics. Six Sigma. It's a philosophy that actually is becoming big, has become big worldwide and in Bahrain. And he took me and he broke me down to pieces and built me back up. He kept moving me and throwing challenges at me. And not only me, this is one story. Basically, imagine Six Sigma, statistics, all statistics and numbers, all the way to supply chain. And I was working actually with Ahmed Bahar over here. I joined a team where there's a vessel size called Handy and Panamax, and I didn't even know these terminologies. And then he moved me to admin, where HR issues and training issues, and then supply chain. And the revolution is, he asked me the question, Waleed, did you want to move? And I told him no at the beginning. Yeah, I resisted. I didn't want the change. I'm happy with my operational excellence. I'm very good at Six Sigma. Why would I move to supply? Later on, actually, when he moved me from supply to admin, I was enticed and excited. Later on, from admin to chief supply, I asked for it. And hence is the revolution with Tim Mori. Listen to the words of this man. It is simple, but it is sophistication at its purest essence. Thank you so much, Tim, and thank you.
Well said, well said. Any more questions before we wrap up? Dr. Najma?
I just would like to thank you so
Please,
much
please.
for accepting this invitation. It was an amazing presentation. I really know that you are so busy.
Did it meet your expectations?
Yes, I know that he's so busy, but you accept the invitation, and I do really appreciate it. And I'm sure that looking forward to have more sessions between us. And as I mentioned always to my staff, together we can achieve a lot, and alone we can achieve little. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you, Alba executive team. Thank you, our guests. Thank you to our Arab Open University family, student and staff. It's our pleasure to have you today. And have a nice weekend. I know that
thank you very much.
we're already 4 o'clock, so thank you so much.
Yeah. And now I would like to invite Dr. Najma onto the stage to award our esteemed guest, Mr. Tim. Here on the stage, up. Jamaa, we're going to have a group photo, Jamaa. If you can bear with us a few minutes, you're going to have a group photo. Give her answer, please. وين بندوا هي؟ بندوا الشاشة؟ شو بندوا الشاشة هي. So just stay with us. We're gonna have a group photo, please. Yeah. One group photo. Mahmoud. I would like to invite everyone into the stage to have a group photo. Or down, you can stay down. No مشكلة.
My pleasure.